Let's see, Jikai, are you able to send a chat message? Hmm. Hi. Okay, GK, I see you saying hello. So, did you hear me? Can you hear me? Perfect. So, I'm going to get started. And I thank you for tuning in. This is, like I said in the post earlier today, an experiment. The technology is amazing and powerful, but also difficult for me to learn. It's been a long learning curve. And so, if this goes well, then maybe we'll think about doing it again sometime. And you probably saw the thumbnail earlier. Probably one of the ugliest or most garish thumbnails ever to appear on YouTube. But I had a lot of fun making that. And the title of my talk is How to Mow the Lawn, Honoring Ango Commitments. And this topic came to mind because, as you know, we started our summer Ango period on June 1st, and people in the Great Wave Zen Sangha made commitments to certain additional types of practice to intensify their practice during the summer. And several people had put down things that were related to body work, but also art practice and civic engagement as a form of Zen practice. And I too did this, knowing full well that these were things that I was going to be doing anyway, even if we hadn't had Ango, at least some of the things that I put down. And so when I saw the the Ango commitment forms and what people were saying they wanted to do for Ango, and I saw things like yard work as body practice, or making art. Um, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this, but these are things that probably were going to happen anyway. And so, what came to mind is how do you distinguish between the kind of activity that we do all the time without thinking very much about it, and that very same activity as a genuine and transformative kind of practice. And I myself, like I said, I had listed yard work, which I would be doing no matter what, because I have to, because I have a yard. I'm lucky enough to have that. It doesn't really matter what kind of body practice you do. It could be washing the dishes, it could be landscaping, it could be some kind of martial arts practice or yoga, just exercise, running. Many different things could qualify. But I think it's just as easy to trim the hedges or mow the lawn in a mindless, non practice oriented kind of way. And so we have to be careful about knowing what the difference is between doing chores around the house and performing those same tasks as Zen practice. So, what is the real difference between mindless activity and genuine practice? We should probably be asking what actually is practice. What is Zen practice? It's an interesting word, and I think it leads some people to think that Zen practice is something that you are practicing in order to be able to do it well later on, in the same way that someone who plays the piano practices music again and again and again in order to perform it. But that's not how we mean practice in the context of Zen. Or we do, but there are significant subtle differences. And we have to ask, what actually is practice? And it can't be said any better or any simpler, in my view, than the way Dogen Zenji said it. Very simple. He said, practice is enlightenment. Enlightenment is practice. So simple. And sometimes so very hard to understand how that could possibly be true. Because we sit down to do zazen or whatever we are doing, and it's practice, but we don't have the sense yet that it's also one and the same as enlightenment. How can that be true? And if it's enlightenment, then why do I have to keep doing it? So these are good questions. They're kind of koans, if you will. But practice is enlightenment, and enlightenment is practice. So the challenge for us is to do our body work, and I'll be sticking mostly to yard work in this talk. We have to do our body work in an enlightened way. That's our practice. So we do it in an enlightened way. And the only problem with that is that if we don't realize ourselves as enlightened beings, how can you possibly do it? Seems paradoxical. Tim Wingate has joined us. Hi, Tim. So good to see that you are here. So let's take mowing the lawn as a form of body practice. And I think it's good to start with the recognition that if you just try to mow the lawn without adding something to it, you just become one with the experience of your activity. That's all you need to do. That's really all. But of course, it's easier said than done. And so my suggestion is that we take some practical measures as we approach a particular bodywork practice, so as to ensure that it is really the genuine practice opportunity we want it to be. And there's really no better place to start doing that than before the body practice begins, in my opinion. So my first suggestion here, you might be surprised, is to wash your hands. When I was teaching college students, or reteaching them how to write in cursive script, we were doing it mindfully. It was the mindful living class. And I would ask them to wash their hands. They had to go down to the bathroom and mindfully wash their hands, and then come back and mindfully pick up the pen and mindfully open the notebook. The thing about washing the hands is that it's an act that is one of symbolic purification. And when you do that, it's really hard to feel anything but a sense of dignity, let's say, and respect for the work that you're about to do, the practice that you're about to do. And I would suggest that when you do wash your hands, that you also do another thing at the same time, which is something that my teacher Myoyu Roshi insisted that we do, and that was to chant the hand washing gata. And I'll show that to you here. As I wash my hands, I vow that all beings obtain pure, clean hands to receive and uphold the Buddha's teaching. And so when we were at Miyoshinji, in all the bathrooms, there was a little framed card, just like what you saw on the screen there, and we would recite that gata under our breath while we washed our hands, and it just puts you in this frame of mind, like come back to the center, get yourself concentrated, quit with the monkey mind, and just be here. So I think it's an excellent thing to do to purify yourself out of a sense of self-respect, dignity, not arrogant dignity, just dignity, and to dignify the work that you're about to do as body practice. And you'll find yourself feeling calm and concentrated. By the way, there will be a link in the YouTube description where you could download the image of the hand washing gata, print that out, frame it, and put it in your own bathrooms. I highly recommend it. So washing our hands is like an act of purification. It also slows things down. That's really important. It allows us to invest ourselves in what we are about to do. Sometimes when we are feeling really busy, we want to hurry up and get the job done. And this can lead to a frenetic kind of activity that doesn't usually have very much to do with actual practice. Now, it is possible to sustain mindful concentration and hurry at the same time. And I do remember Roshi demonstrating this, like moving quickly through a room, but with grace. She would float across the floor and go from one end of the room to the other. You didn't hear a foot fall, and she did it very rapidly, but right there, total concentration. So it's possible to do it, but generally we want to try to slow things down and get ourselves centered. And washing our hands and chanting can help us do that. The other thing you can do before you even begin the task is to simply close your eyes. You don't have to sit down or anything. Just close your eyes and just take a few moments to take a clearing breath. Inhale deeply through your nose. Exhale out your mouth. Be centered. Gotta mow the lawn. I'm just going to do that in the garage. I'm going to stand in the garage and take a breath. If you are sitting zazen every day, that may be all you need to realize how you are honoring this body practice, that it is actual practice, that it is actual enlightenment. And then be mindful of your entire environment. What are the circumstances in which I find myself? What is it that has to be done? Why? Why really does it have to be done? Do you really have to mow the lawn? What if you never mowed the lawn, ever? I think a day will be coming when people stop mowing lawns. How do I feel about the task before me? Do I want to do it? Do I like doing it? Do I dislike it? And why? What attachments do I have to the outcome of the task? Sometimes we get very caught up in how it's going to be when we're done with the work, so caught up in the glory of that final attainment that we never get to experience the actual activity itself. And what I'm saying there is that we are not living our lives as we live them. We're not really present. So, mindful awareness, just a few moments of that before the body work actually begins. We just keep the mind at the level of bare objectivity, moment by moment. Don't intellectualize about things, don't judge things, don't evaluate things. Just be aware, just note how things are, how things smell, how things look, how the air feels on your skin, the quality of the light. And again, this helps us to realize the vast, wondrous, and interconnected nature of phenomenal reality. Yeah, and I just saw Jikai's remark, yes, about just stop having lawns. I have to admit, I really love a beautifully mowed green lawn. I'm a creature of my age or something, I guess, but I full well recognize all the environmental reasons why it's probably a really bad idea. So things will change. And then finally, I would recommend this again, even before you begin the task, put your hands in gasho and make a bow. Have you ever bowed to a lawnmower before? Think about it. You're so lucky, first of all, that you have a lawn to mow, but you're even luckier that you have a lawn mower with which to mow it. I mean, that's just a material advantage, a privilege, if you will. It's a gift of the whole world. Someone had to invent the lawnmower. Someone had to refine the fossil fuels that make it go. Okay? And so even though there are things that we don't really like about maybe fossil fuels, we have to acknowledge that we have this thing and there's a reason for us to feel grateful for it. The other day I had to cut down a bunch of cardboard boxes for the recycling bin, and I used my Swiss Army knife. And it was so easy because the knife, I keep it very, very sharp, scary sharp. And it just slid through the cardboard so fast. And I was just so grateful to have this tool, this little tool that I keep in my pocket. You know, someone had to figure out how to make steel. Someone had to teach people how to sharpen it. Like I had to learn how to sharpen a knife and keep it sharp. Yeah, so many things to be grateful for. And we all get, or we become aware of our feelings of gratitude. They really come into sharp focus the moment we make a bow. That gesture of respect, humility, gratitude, so simple to do and so opening, so opening. It can change the whole nature of the task before you. I mean, there were times in my life when I had to mow the lawn and I didn't want to. It's just embedded right in the language. I have to mow the lawn. Right? That's very different from I get to. This is a form of practice. I'm grateful for this form of practice. And when I'm in that frame of mind, the whole activity it's lightened. It's not burdensome at all. It's just a joy. Because I'm not hung up about it. I'm just letting it be what it is. It's so easy to do that when you're feeling respect and gratitude. I was talking about chanting, and I should have mentioned then about the hand washing gata, that when I was practicing, this is many, many years ago now, at the Wasatch Zen group in Salt Lake City. They had a practice of chanting the Enmei Juku Kenangyo, and they did that 12 times before they began Samu. Okay, Samu is the traditional daily work period that we engage in during a retreat. Here, let me see if I can bring that forward. Yeah, and so they would chant this 12 times before beginning Samu. And by the way, there's a link in the description to this as well. You have the translation there, but you don't really need it. If you memorize this, it's very easy to memorize it, by the way. And, chant it 3 times, 9 times, 12 times. There's a community garden here in Ludington that I have volunteered to work in, and the food that we're growing in this garden will be donated to the local food bank. And, that's one of my Ango commitments. But before doing the weeding, or before I planted a row of bok choy, I chanted the Enmei Juku Kenangyo. I really, it's a wonderful, beautiful kind of practice. So, when we do things like this, everything changes its aspect. Really, nothing is excluded from our experience. Everything is present. Everything is, well, perfect, whole, and complete. This is what I say to people all the time. You are perfect, whole, and complete, just the way you are. It's so hard to realize it, though, because that's not how we feel. And we're pretty sure that other people don't feel that way about us. Oh, why 12 times? I don't know. I don't know why they did it 12 times. If you want to do it 12 times, you don't think you can keep track, take a wrist mala with you and count the beads, maybe. That's one thing that Myoyo Roshi often advised. Doesn't matter how many times you do it, just decide and then just do it with full attention. All right, and I am really finally going to get to mowing this lawn. But the thing is, once we begin doing it, we just want to sustain our concentration. Okay, this is the main thing. We want to continuously remind ourselves that this is our practice at this time. This is my life at this time. My life is my practice at this time. My life is enlightenment at this time. Even if I have not yet realized it. But if I keep doing it, I will eventually realize it. Because really, everything is practice if you let it be. So we just have to remain mindful as the grass gets cut. You just keep your mind attentive to the mowing. Note the sound of the mower. I don't know if you can hear my neighbor. He decided to mow his lawn during my live stream. How do the vibrations feel through the handle of the lawnmower in your hands? Do you smell the smell of the cut grass? Is it mixed with the smell of the exhaust fumes from the lawnmower? Moment by moment, we just observe. When I'm mowing the lawn, it's like grass, but it isn't really just grass, is it? Even in like highly manicured lawns, it's not ever perfectly uniformly just grass. Oh, there's some clover. Oh, there's a plantain. Oh, there's a dandelion. There's all this other stuff. And sometimes insects, even toads, crickets, spiders, they jump up in front of the terrifying blades as they're spinning around. Sometimes I notice that I feel bad about that. I've seen toads jump away from the lawnmower as I'm going, and they get away, but then I always wonder if there were toads that I mowed that didn't get away. So, these things are things that you can notice mindfully and observe, not judge, just feel and observe. It's internal, it's external. No judgments, just observations. Yeah, and are you feeling tired? Are you feeling energized by your body work? Do you feel the sweat dripping down your back? Is the sun really, really bright? So it's pretty interesting how complex things become when we are really paying a lot of mindful attention to what we're doing. One of the places, by the way, and I'm going to take a little bird walk here, has to do with our emotional landscape. What we typically do is fixate on the emotion that is predominant. And we will often say things like, oh yeah, I had a terrible day. It's such a disappointing day. Okay, so disappointment was the predominant feeling for whatever reason. But when we're mindful, really paying attention to what's going on internally, there are so many other colorations, so many other emotions. Even in the midst of, let's say, a very sad day, there would be moments of joy, moments of confusion, moments of frustration, moments of delight, moments of humor. All these different things are going on, admixed with and around and below whatever the predominant emotion. Rocks always hit my door. It's a kind of a shock, no matter how. Are you talking about rocks that are kicked up by the lawnmower? Or are you speaking metaphorically, Keith? I'll let you answer that and then I'll come back to it. But yeah, so practice mindfulness as you complete your task. Don't let your mind wander. Don't let your mind wander to the end of the task. Don't let your mind wander to the next task. Americans, well, actually all people in the Western industrialized world have these huge to-do lists where they just can't ever feel like they have caught up. And they work themselves into illness and even death. Okay, don't do that. Just be right here. This is living your life. This is your practice. Yes, yes. I'm not sure what you're saying yes to, but yes, both. Maybe both. Literally, the lawnmower knocks rocks up against the door, kicks them up. But it's also a great metaphor, is it not? So take it from a poet like Keith to perceive lived experience as experience, but also as a metaphor. Things happen to us. Aitken Roshi, by the way, writes about this, about how the sudden call of a bird or some other kind of interruption brings us back into sudden awareness, and then we realize, my God, I have been daydreaming this whole time. And so we can be grateful for the rocks that hit our door. One thing that I see people doing, especially with machinery, is to put in earbuds and listen to music while they mow the lawn. Not the metaphor, man. Okay. And I understand why people would do that, and if they're not in Ango and they're not Zen practitioners, I'm not, no judgment. That's fine. That's cool. But if you want to do yard work as practice, you can't do both at the same time. Come on. Now, are you there to mow, or are you there to try to escape mowing as you mow. Escape into your favorite music. Think about it. We're always trying to get away from the things we don't want, don't like, and get to the things we do like, the things that we do want. So there's the paradox, or the contradiction right there. Mow the lawn while listening to music. Yeah. If we're mindful, it just tears up all that kind of dualistic view of things. And I also want to point out, mowing the lawn is usually a solo activity, but there are other things that people do together. Let's say as part of yard work, pretty common in the summer, like household partners, for example, might weed the flower bed or something. And so if you're really going to do weeding as part of your practice together, that's great. But don't talk. Don't do idle chit chat. Now, those of you who are listening to this right now, or who are at least participating in the chat, you know that during Samu we don't talk unless we really absolutely have to, like, give instruction or receive instruction on how to do something. But otherwise, we don't talk. And so during Ango, if you're practicing Ango on your own and you have a commitment to do, let's say, weeding the flower garden together, that's great. But don't chit chat about your Roth IRA. Okay, just weed the garden. I've seen groups of people during sesshin, like during Samu often, but at other times when people were doing work around the premises, working kind of with each other in this unscripted but beautiful dance-like way, because they were fully aware of their entire environment and their minds were not wandering and they weren't distracting themselves by talking. For example, kitchens are often a place in a Zen center where you're going to have 2 or 3 people doing things all at the same time. One person's washing the dishes, one person's drying the dishes, another person's putting the dishes away, another person is wiping the counters down, another person's mopping the floor. And they all do it without getting in one another's way. Gracefully, without blocking someone else's progress in their part of the task of cleaning the kitchen. It's beautiful to see it. There's a kind of wordless understanding because people are just simply aware of their entire environment, the other people that are there, and the things that have to be done. It's beautiful to behold. And then my neighbor just finished mowing his lawn, so I'm going to talk about what we do after our body practice. After the hedge is trimmed, after the lawn is mowed. I think that the traditional advice is, don't be attached to the work that you do. You don't own that work. And in a very real sense, you also did not do the work, not you. But this is often said because we don't want to be attached to our chores as if they were some kind of attainment. But I do think it's probably okay to just take a minute or two to look at your work. Did you do a good job or kind of a sloppy job? Did you do the best job ever? Just size it up and then let it go. Totally let it go. But it's good to at least acknowledge where we may have fallen short. Like, did you leave a little mohawk of grass somewhere that you'll have to get next time? Just look at it and check its quality, not because you need to compare yourself to someone else or compare yourself to some kind of abstract ideal, but just because this is a part of our practice. Okay, so It's like sitting zazen. If you get distracted a lot, you say, I'm going to have to double down and really renew my effort to not be distracted, and to not fall into a daydream, and sustain my concentration on the breath or whatever it is we're working on, the koan maybe. So just just a little bit of reflection on the work we've done, and then let it go. Don't gloat about it. Don't let it become an attainment of some kind. You can just appreciate it, and then do the same things that you did before the task. It's like bookends. Okay, so mowed the lawn. You can bow to the lawn, the beautiful lawn, the lawn that feels so wonderful when it's all dewy and you're in your bare feet and it's perfectly clipped. Sometimes when I'm done mowing the lawn, especially if it's later in the day and the sun is going down and the light is coming through the yard at a low angle. It's very beautiful, the golden time, one of my friends used to call it. And I'll fill the bird bath full of water, and they come right away, especially the blue jays, and they splash around in it. And I just really appreciate everything that I have. It's just I don't know how it turned out that I have these things, but I do, and so I am really grateful that I have them. And so when we just like bow, or just mindfully appreciate the entire environment, the things that we have been given um, by the whole world, um, it's actually at that time a little easier to let go of how we did with the particular task. And then, of course, you could probably predict this. I would say, wash your hands. Wash your hands. Of course, if you mowed the lawn or if you were weeding the garden, you're going to have to wash your hands. But even if you didn't get your hands dirty, wash them anyway. Okay, it just kind of, like I said, it bookends things, and it gives a nice sense of closure to that particular form of practice. And you can chant the hand washing gata at the same time. And maybe there is one other thing um, that we could do, and this isn't particularly, it isn't at all related to body practice or any particular form of practice, just practice in general. And it's this, that it's traditional during Ango in the evening, right before lights out, in a monastery or residential Zen center, to chant the evening gata. The first time I heard that, a chill went down my spine, because what often happens is it's dark in the zendo, and you really can't see anything. And I had been facing the wall or something. I don't know. I didn't notice that the jikido had left the zendo to go strike the han. So it starts with a strike of the han, and then his voice, he had a beautiful voice, unlike me, and it just rang out this verse. Let me respectfully remind you, life and death are of supreme importance. Time swiftly passes by and opportunity is lost. Each of us should strive to awaken, take heed. Do not squander your life. And then another run on the Han. And I was just like, yeah, don't squander your life. Now we are, because of the pandemic and just because we are living lay lives, practicing these things on our own at home mostly. We'll do them during sesshin and zazen kais, of course, but um, when you do this at home, just learn the words and and then just chant it before you go to bed. It really helps instill the idea that the life you have is a sacred life and one that I hope you will respect and treat well. So, thank you so much for listening, and I'll stay on if people have questions. I hope so. It's kind of fun for me to see the chat thing because that's one of the reasons that I was trying to do this. Yeah, let's see what's going on here. Yeah, anybody else? Questions or comments in the chat? Okay then. Not hearing anything, not seeing anything, and so I'll bid you good evening, and thanks again for listening and attending this. And if you feel like it, I should say, please like send an email, or you can use the contact form on the Great Wave website, and let me know if this is something that you'd like me to try to do again. Maybe I can do a better job. Okay, have a good night.